Holy smokes. West Virginia dominated Oklahoma State in a blowout win, almost 70 running plays. But are they back? That's the real question. Do you trust the West Virginia Mountaineers to be totally back as a Big 12 contender? Let's discuss about this domination on this episode of Locked On West Virginia.
You are Locked On West Virginia, your daily podcast on the West Virginia Mountaineers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, guys? Welcome back in. Thank you for joining me for halftime. I am back with you. It's Locked On West Virginia, and we had a good day today, fellas and ladies. This episode of Locked On West Virginia is brought to you by FanDuel, of course. Get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet at FanDuel.com. Make sure you head there to get started. And thank you for making me your first and last listen of the day, and for being part of Locked On Podcast Network, where, of course, we talk about the West Virginia Mountaineers. We're your team every day. Whip Hero says, trust the climb. Steve Weber says, nice win, but hard to get too excited. Oklahoma State looked absolutely pathetic. They still almost beat Utah and was competing with Kansas State most of that game. It's true. Whip Hero says, had a few issues, but it's still looking good. Defense did step up. Greg Jarvis, looks like the bye week did us some good. I agree with Steve, though. It's hard to get excited. Show me more. Todd Strickland says 2-0 record. Can't complain about that in the Big 12. Chief fan, West Virginia to the Big 12 championship game. So on this episode, guys, in segment one, in highlighted bold letters, you can see they, Elon be able to say that bold letters and italic letters are gone off the X, but not on Locked On West Virginia, because it says right here, are we back? Obviously, that's a little bit of a tease, isn't it? Back to what? Are we contenders at the end of the day? If we play our best game, are we contenders for the Big 12? I think it's a good question. I believe before the year we absolutely were, and then we got obliterated 2 out of the first 4 games and had to come back against Kansas. Confidence was shaken, and also based off of results in the past, right? Nobody was feeling good. But after a performance like this against that coach on that field, considering how he's dominated this rivalry, I feel a lot better about it. And look, they were out, they were injured, they were down, they were out, they were dejected. No doubt about it. That is not a typical Oklahoma State team, but they still have 20-plus starters back off a 10-win or 11-win football team. 5 6-year seniors on the offensive line, a 7th-year senior quarterback, the best running back in college football, one of the best slot receivers in Oklahoma State history in Brendan Presley. You saw Stripling, the horse that scored one of the touchdowns. They've got talent, guys. They've got talent. The real question is, was it because of them or because of us? And I lean towards more because of them in this one. I just think they played with very little passion. They didn't look like a typical Mike Gundy team. They were on their home field. And, yeah, while the fans were into it at points, this reminds me for them of K-State, West Virginia, whenever Tavon returned the opening kick 100. But that was it for us, right? They did nothing. They dominated the game as far as taking the fans out of the game and all that. That's kind of how it felt for them. Not necessarily the games don't mimic each other, but for me, man, I think we have, obviously, if we win next week, we'll be screaming it from the mountaintops. We're back. We're in this game. You get past Iowa State, guys, because it's starting to look really dang good conference-wise for us. And there could be a lot of us that look stupid pretty soon because there's a lot of people out on Neil Brown still. If they win next week, let's just play a little hypothetical here. If West Virginia wins the football game next week, they're going to be really in the thick of things, and they're going to have to lose some games they shouldn't lose to get knocked out of it. To go past Kansas and Oklahoma State when looking at them in the preseason, remember, we thought this was a brutal stretch for us, guys. We did. We thought Kansas, we thought it started with Kansas in conference play and rolled all the way through Arizona, and it's just not turned out to be that. Wouldn't shock me if Iowa State still went and lost tonight. The Big 12 cannibalizes itself, like no other conference, although you see Bama struggle today. Yeah, but Bama's also won several SEC national championships here lately. It's just not a great comparison anyways, Whip. I'll enjoy this win, says Misplaced Hillbilly. And the team looked good today, but Neil Brown's problem is consistency. We'll see how this finishes out. And that's where most fans are pretty well seated, I think, Misplaced Hillbilly is. This was a great win. Can't deny it was a dominant win. A lot of things look fixed. But I'm still going to wait and see what we look like against a more comparable team, right? Sean Bill says, run game looked great. Passing did just enough to keep the run lanes available. Defense played really well, not complaining, but need to see them be like this consistently. We always lose one or two we shouldn't, says Greg Jarvis. Todd Strickland, a.k.a. the Silver Tundra. Bama down 5 with 2 minutes to go. Ocho85 says, I feel like we lost the games we shouldn't have. Silas, good game, Mountaineers. Can't wait for next week's Coal Rush. Stadium will be juiced up. Yeah, that's going to be an all-timer atmosphere next week because of the black uniforms and everything. So, yeah, you're right, Tosh. Oklahoma State did look awful, but we played a part in that. We had, a couple really demoralizing drives in the first couple of drives where, our first couple of drives were chewing. I think we had them on the field for, it seemed like 7-8 minutes for one of those drives. Look, we ran the ball 60-something times in this game, the most since the Pat White era. So it's that'll wear you out. That'll wear you out. Savage Hillbilly, hey, I've been at work and I didn't get to watch. One of the big takeaways, injuries, etc. Injuries, just right off the rip that I can think of. Garrett had a shoulder, and I'd say it'll be sore. I doubt he practices a lot. We'll see. Our Rodney Gallagher had an issue with his knee hyperextending, but he eventually was cleared to come back, said Jed Riddick. And then I think the only injury I didn't really get an answer on was Garnett Hollis. He kind of ran into somebody with his helmet, and I'm not really sure if he came back and played well. Maybe somebody else can let me know because I didn't really see. But we came out of that game almost smelling like a rose. Yes, Alabama is losing to Vandy, Ranger Buck. That is demoralizing in itself, he says. We held the ball for 43 minutes. Yeah. But the big takeaways, Savage Hillbilly, are this. Well, let's just pull up the full stats now really quick. So 38-14 final. Okay. Let's go over here to the stats. I'll share the screen with you guys so you can see along with me. Let me get this comment off the screen first. All right, so Garrett Green was 9 of 15 for 159 yards. He didn't have to do anything. The biggest takeaway I have is Jaheim White in this game, I would say. He had 19 carries for 158 yards and a touchdown. He looked really good, but so did CJ. So I would say the biggest takeaway for me, number one, the defense. You want to see what the defense did. They held Alan Bowman to 116 yards and Garrett Rangel up 75, so under 200 yards passing for the second week in a row. They did give up 2 touchdowns, but we had 2 picks in this game. That was a big deal. Ollie Gordon under 50 yards. 50 yards of running. You couldn't. I wouldn't believe that. Alan Bowman was sacked 3 times. The defense played well, guys. Dwayne Lofton led them in receiving, scribbling, had 54 yards. But, I mean, Presley goes 3 catches, 48 yards, 16 yards a catch. I took that point of the game, obviously. But, yes, the defense is the biggest takeaway. Then on our side of the ball, Garrett got hurt this game. If you weren't watching, then you'll want to know this. And Nico came in and made a couple really big highlight plays. No, he was 1 for 1 with a 10-yard touchdown pass, and it was an NFL level zinger. He really slung that in there, and it was capital B beautiful. And it was only a slant, but it was just how much zip it had on it and where the location of it was. Not a pass you see Garrett do a lot. His are a little bit less accurate. But, I mean, usually they get there. And then if you look at rushing, Jaheim had 158 yards. Garrett had 86. CJ had 77, but he had 2 touchdowns. Garrett had a touchdown. Nico had 46 yards. Jalen Anderson had 19. Darius Farmer had 4. Dior Hubbard had 1. I didn't even see his carry. So somebody do the math on that for me. That's over 230, 300, a little over 350 yards rushing. So Hudson Clement had a one-handed catch that was just amazing. Maybe on SportsCenter later. It's definitely going to be a conversation, I would say. But yeah, he was really the only receiver to speak of. Traylon Ray had his moments where I thought he was winning. Thank you for the super chat, Mo Carpenter. I'm going to have to figure out a new method here, guys. And you didn't know this, Mo, but now that I'm working for Locked On, we're going to have to switch this up to maybe Cash App if you can. I haven't been asking, but if you guys are going to donate, ROCKEL 85 on Cash App, that would be the best place to send it because Locked On now kind of controls this. So I won't be seeing all the money. You know what I mean? So I do appreciate it, Mo, and you've always been great. And I mean, it's not the end of the world here. You're supporting the show. But I just wanted to say that, like, if you want to send me anything, send it to Cash App or we'll figure out another way. I should have been asking more long, or I should have said something earlier. I hadn't been asking lately. Greg Jarvis, 389. Thank you. First down, Vandy, goal to go. Wow. That's incredible, man. Honey 2, the effing front. Yep. And they lost. Alabama officially lost to Vanderbilt. So that's news. Hey, it's wild how this stuff happens, man. And that's okay, Mo. No big deal, but thank you for the support, brother. You always do such a good job. Hey, look, we got to get a break, guys. I'm a couple minutes past. But up next on Locked On West Virginia, we're going to talk about – let me get the screen fixed before we do that. Let's see. We're going to talk about I had the running game in that slot, but we'll figure something else to talk about. Then we're going to talk about the coal rush. Iowa State up next. Are we scared, or what are we looking at here with Iowa State next week? That's up next on Locked On West Virginia. This episode of Locked On West Virginia is brought to you by FanDuel. Hey, NFL fans, you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel, which is America's #1 sports book. When you get a hunch in the middle of the game, check out the latest stats, new live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page you place your bets. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets, which is guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet at FanDuel.com. West Virginia just covered their spread, but will you win using FanDuel? Go to FanDuel.com to make sure you do. All right. So to get on topic here for Moe Carpenter, he said, I think we will, if we play like we did today, we can beat Iowa State. Agreed. I think that's it's easy to look at that now and say they're pretty bad, worse than we thought, anyways. But you know, I'm going to lean back and pontificate a little bit here. So they look. They started the season. They returned more than anybody in the Big 12 off a double-digit winning team. They still have today. They played with them today. Those same five offensive linemen that ran for 1,700 yards last year. It's the same quarterback, most of the same receivers, the same running back. Uh, Everything's the same with their offense. So our defense deserves a big W for holding that offense in check. Better defenses before us have played them, and they scored more against Iowa. They scored more, against Utah and K-State. So we played better than those defenses against this Oklahoma State team. We just have to give ourselves a little pat on the back for that. Good job, Jordan Leslie. I come down on him hard these past few weeks. He deserves everything and more for this game plan. And then offensively, I feel like, yes, they were missing all their linebackers, but all their DBs and defensive line was still intact for this game mostly. So we still did some good things in this game. They had some good defensive linemen. Brandon Yates got beat a lot today, and I love Brandon. I had him on the show. But that big nose guard beat him quite a few times today in the inside. So it's going to happen. But, he's one of the reasons we've kind of struggled for that West, because he gets beat a lot there. I think he did, Ocho. Yeah, he did come back in. Did we win because we've improved, or did we win because Oklahoma State is bad? Oh, we definitely improved. Anybody that says we didn't improve is lying. We definitely improved. We looked like a team that had 2 weeks to prepare for a game. And Oklahoma, when that was undefeated in the conference, was a lot to play for. And Oklahoma State looked like a team with 2 losses in the conference, coming off of 2 straight conference losses to really good teams that are physical, more physical than us probably. And they looked good. They need a bye week worse than anybody in the country. So, really going through it right now, so it's hard to be super happy and positive. The heck of a game. If they can play like this, they really do. They really can do some things. Got to give them their props. Even Leslie. Well, first of all, Luke, I'm sorry that you're going through something. If there's anything I can do, please message me on X, or I'll give you my phone number. And I'm here for you, brother. If you need to just talk to somebody you don't know, or want to get some stuff off your chest that can't be repeated, I'm here for you. They did shut down Gordon. Yes, they did. We dominated Oklahoma State on both sides. What a win. That's right, David. First half was improved. Yes. Well, now the second half was by design. We didn't score as much in the second half by design. That's just my personal opinion. I think Neil really took the gas off, and it was all about clock. You didn't want to let them get into a rhythm. So I think that is, in my opinion, 85 to 90% of the reason we didn't score is we could have scored more. Believe that. We could have scored the last play of the game, or in the last 2 minutes easily if we wanted to, and that would have been 45. But we didn't. I personally would have if I was Neil, but I would have gave a guy like Darius Farmer a couple more shots in the end zone. Somebody we need for our future. Hopefully he's happy. He just hadn't had a whole lot of chances, and I really thought he looked good on the one little play he got around the edge today. Just think we could use him. Blah, blah, blah. If we would have lost, he would have a different opinion too. So there's that. Don't know who you mean there, Mo. Nobody I've seen looks great in our conference, so we can absolutely beat any team on our schedule. Well, Iowa State looks pretty dang good. They beat Iowa, who is in the Big Ten. There are Kansas State. In my opinion, Kansas State has looked great at times, and so has Arizona. So there are a couple teams that have played better than everybody else. But you're right. The conference as a whole isn't as high end as I thought it was going to be. Every time we win, the haters want to say it's only because the other team is bad, not because we played, coached a good game. That's fair out, man, in 25. But consider that this too. Neil and company have let us down a lot. Consider like the Pitt game, other games in the past, the Houston game, whatever. Almost the Baylor game. So there's a reason for fans to feel that way, and they deserve to feel that way, right? This team has to etch its own identity into things. Are they a team that comes back from 10? Are they a team that blows teams out now? Are they a team that can hold a lead? I think today they proved they can hold a lead and that they can blow a team out. That's twice this year they've done it. So those two are trending, ticking upwards. You've only had one team come back on you. So I think Pitt, you look at Pitt, they're 5-0. You look at Penn State, they're 5-0. That means the combined record of the teams that have beat us is 10-0. Think about that. Maybe give Neil Brown and company a little break because we didn't lose to those scrubs. We didn't know it at the time. I thought Pitt was going to be crap, after we played them, no matter what, because that's how I think about them. But they are truly deserving of they deserve to be ranked. Let's just be objective. Don't ever want to talk nicely about Pitt or Penn State, for that matter. Both of those are top 25 teams. So should we be so hard on the Mountaineers? I think that's a great question. And I think it's deserving of its own video this week. Really, I'm going to dive into that. Because the fact that the only two losses we have are against undefeated teams speaks volumes, guys. Really think about that. Up next on Locked On West Virginia, we're going to put a bow on this episode. And I got to go meet with Mama because can't keep Mama waiting. So we'll be right back. This episode of Locked On West Virginia is brought to you by Game Time, guys, America's premier ticket corporation. They have a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats. That way you don't have to waste time searching through thousands and thousands of tickets. It's a super deal. It really is. Curation makes it easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater, etc. Get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy. Game Time has a low ticket guarantee. The price guarantee, it will credit you 110% of the difference if you can find something better. And your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. They've got job loss prevention. They've got disaster prevention. Anything you can think of, you can get wiggle out of it. Download the app, create an account, and use Locked On College 20 for your first purchase. Terms do apply, but create an account, redeem the code, and spell LOCKEDON college for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. My dog's in the house. Ooh, 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 ooh. You guys remember when Ray Lewis used to do that? What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. When dogs in the house. He was so good at that. The Ravens, when they used to hype up. And I'm not a Ravens guy at all, but I used to like hearing Ray Lewis do that. 2-0 in the Big 12, baby. That's all that matters. 2-0. 2-0. One of us. One of us. It's a good day to be a Mountaineer wherever you may be, guys. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Locked On West Virginia. And as we put a bow on this episode, I'm going to text Mama real quick to make sure Mama ain't mad. Because Mama has been waiting on me to be done. All right. Looks like we're healthy for next week, too. Yeah. I'm going to do an episode on Neil Brown's press conference tomorrow. I'm going to look for any cool details. And guys, put some episode ideas that you want to see in the comments. What's something you want me to talk about on Locked On West Virginia? I would love to know. And if it's something I think is good, I'll put it on there. So my tailboat's killing me, guys. Doing 2 episodes today, plus do that game. So apologies if you don't like the way I'm sitting right now. Matthew Watkins, my uncle was a Ravens season ticket holder. Watching Ray Lewis come out in person was electric. Oh yeah, that dance he would do, freaking cool, man. So how are we going to put a bow on this? West Virginia ran for almost 400 yards today, so their rushing totals for the year just went way up. That's number one. Defensive totals for the season came way down. That's number two. We've got a quarterback, whether it's Garrett or Nico. I think that's safe to say. That's 3. Gene White going back on track. I think that's 4. And number 5 is the coal rush next week, guys. Right? Show up, show out, and support the Mountaineers for that coal rush. It's going to be an electric atmosphere, guys. It's going to be electric. We're going to have to wait all day to see it, and it's going to suck, but it'll be worth it when it gets here. Do me a favor, support the show this coming week, guys. I'm trying to break some records here on Locked On West Virginia, personal records for like watch time, for views, different things. So if you see a Locked On West Virginia video, do me a big favor. This is my only income, and I quit everything to pursue this. It's my dream, and I'll do the best I can in content for you guys if you just support me. I appreciate you guys. I'm excited and happy. And the Mountaineers are winners, 38-14, in dominating fashion. We'll talk tomorrow, guys. But the big question of this episode is, are we back? And I'm going to say yes and no. I think next week is going to tell the tale. And if we win next week, I think it's safe to say we're back and we're in the full-on Big 12 title race. So keep coming back, guys. It works if you work it. This is Locked On West Virginia. We'll talk next week, starting tomorrow. Well, I'll probably do one tomorrow too, but I might take a day off. If we can come up with a good episode for a Sunday, put it in the comments below, and I'll try to do that. Mo says, I'll be there. Blacked TF out. Pimping my Nico blackout jersey. Heck yeah, man. Appreciate that. We win next week, then I'll just be the next week after that. Okay, brother. Guys, thank you. I'll talk to you tomorrow. I got to get outside to hear the mama. But I appreciate y'all. The Mountaineers win, so I'm going to do a Tony Caridi. It's a great night to be a Mountaineer, wherever you may be. Keep coming back, guys. We'll talk to you next time. Thank you for making Locked On West Virginia your first and last listen of the day. But if you could do me a big favor and make Locked On College Football or Big 12 your next listen, Drake Toll is the man for that, one of the most talented guys around. Do that. Until then, this episode's over, and I'm out.